Get ready for a quick quest guide for the Pandemonium Quest, in which the main rewards for completing are access to the sailing skill, access to the Pandemonium, a raft, 300 sailing XP, and 1 quest point. This quest also has no quest, skill, or item requirements. And I wouldn't recommend any items either. Now you can begin this quest around the middle of the Port Sarim docks, whereby you'll find Anne and Will. To start the quest, talk to either Will or Anne, and after some chatter select yes to start the Pandemonium quest, and then after some more chatter say, I guess I'm ready, where you'll want to continue chatting with Will and Anne to wind up on a boat, and when the chat finishes it's time to sail south to the Pandemonium. Firstly, you'll want to select to navigate the helm of your boat, and from here you can simply click around in the world on your minimap to move and steer your boat, and again you'll want to start heading south. Now you'll also notice a steering interface on the bottom right. Importantly, the most left icon lets you set your sails and unset your sails, and this is a great way to get your boat to start and to stop. Note that you can also do this by right-clicking on your sails. Then the 2 arrows buttons to the right of the sails button let you choose your boat speed. So the left of the 2 is to slow down and eventually reverse, while the right of the 2 is to speed up. Finally, know that another way to stop your boat is to simply stop navigating at the helm. Another thing to note is that when wind gust animations occur around your sails, you'll be able to click on your sails and trim them for a speed boost. Continue making your way south, and eventually Will and Anne will tell you that you've arrived and to stop. So now either unset your sails or choose to stop navigating at the helm. After you stop, continue chatting with Will and Anne, and after the chat ends, click on the salvaging hook on the boat and select to deploy it. This will start a cutscene whereby after you find some treasure, Will and Anne betray you and push you overboard, and you'll then wash up on the Pandemonium. Following the cutscene, continue through the chat with Squawking Steve until it finishes. Next, go a tad northeast in the pub where you'll find Ribs. Talk to Ribs and after some chatter say, now's not really the time for tales, and then continue through the rest of the chat with him. Following this, go a tad south and speak to Squawking Steve and firstly select About Will and Anne, and then continue chatting before asking, do you have any idea where Will and Anne might have gone, before then continuing through the rest of the chat. Now run northeast out of the pub, and a little further northeast on a boat you'll find Junior Jim. Talk to Jim and go through the chat, where you trade him your newfound cup for a raft, and you'll then end up at the shipyard whereby you'll want to finish off the chat. Next, head a little south and then take a saw from the crate of saws, as well as a hammer from the crate of hammers. Then select board on the gangplank just to your northeast to hop onto your boat, and then select to build on the facility hotspot before clicking the build button next to the cargo hold to set up a cargo hold for your raft. Now that your boat's all set up, select to disembark from the gangplank and then talk to Junior Jim close by to arrive back at the Pandemonium, and then continue through the chat to be handed a captain's log. When the chat ends, run north and then a little east, and at the end of the dock you'll find a gangplank. Select board on the gangplank to hop onto your raft. Once you're on, click on your raft's helm and select to navigate, and following this you can just click on the world or minimap to move your boat, and you'll want to start navigating north and making your way back to Port Sarim. As you sail north, if your boat sails get little wind animations around them, you'll want to select to trim your sails, which will provide a small amount of sailing XP and a speed boost for your boat. After arriving at Port Sarim's lowest docking point, you'll see a gangplank, and here you'll want to stop your raft either by unsetting your sails or stopping navigation, and then select disembark on the gangplank to return to the docks. Following this, run west and you'll soon find a ledger table. Right click on it and select take cargo to then pick up a crate of ship parts, and then run east back to your ship nearby the gangplank before selecting the gangplank and clicking board. Once you're on your ship, right click on your basic cargo hold and select quick deposit to pop the cargo inside. Then click on your raft's helm and select to navigate. And following this, you can just click on the world or minimap to move your boat. And this time you'll want to start navigating south and making your way back to the Pandemonium. Remember to trim your sails if your boat gets the wind animations, and you'll want to make your way to the eastern side of the Pandemonium, back to the gangplank where you previously left the Pandemonium from. After arriving at the gangplank, select to stop your boat, and then select to open your basic cargo hold on the raft before selecting to withdraw the crate of ship parts. Once you're holding the ship parts, then select disembark on the gangplank to arrive back at the Pandemonium before going west to the ledger table and selecting to deposit your cargo on it, and then continue the chat with the portmaster. Now go a tad south back to Junior Jim and talk to him, continuing through the chat. After the chat with Jim finishes, head southwest back to the pub and chat with Squawking Steve once again, before going through the chat with him and Old Grog. And after the chat finishes, bam! Quest complete. You'll be awarded access to the sailing skill, access to the Pandemonium, a raft, 300 sailing XP, and 1 quest point. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you in the next quest.